Hello, welcome to Untitled Tarot. This is an unusual kind of reading I'm going to be doing. So this is basically all about the 21st of December. Okay, if you watched my previous pick a card reading for the eclipse, the total solar eclipse, then you would have noticed that I was talking about, I had this weird feeling about the 21st of December and I might do a pick a card reading. This is in fact a pick a present reading because we're leading up to Christmas, so it's quite fun. So it's just a bit of fun, but it's slightly different sort of setup. I'm going to work quite intuitively as well. So first of all, what we'll do is I'll talk a little bit about the 21st because I've done some research and there is some astrological reasons why the 21st of December kept on plopping up in my mind. I'll talk about that for a little bit. Then I'm going to do shuffle on camera and take jumpers out the pack for a general overview of the world and how this is affecting the world. And then you will get the chance then to pick a present reading. So inside these three little packages, we have a particular crystal and a set of pre-shuffled cards. They all jumped up sort of face down, so I have no idea what they are, so it'll be a bit of a surprise for me too. So what you can do is watch the intro bit. Then we can have a look at what sort of how it's affecting society. So we'll talk a little bit about astrology, then how it's going to be affecting society as a collective, and then you can go to your timestamp below to get your personalized message, and this will be based on how this 21st of December is going to be impacting you, basically starting in this new kind of paradigm shift. Okay, so I have cleansed your energy with Sage, and I have obviously pre-shuffled the cards. I've asked my guides to come in and Anna Cassandra to come in too. So the 21st of December, what the hell is going on? In fact, it is called the Great Jupiter and Saturn Conjunction. Okay, now, so this is actually a huge astrological shift. There are people, there's going to be mass meditations on this day. This kind of shift, conjunction, means where the two planets actually come together, and this is it's just there's so much with regards to this, because on the first aspect it is the winter solstice, okay, so that strengthens the energy. Then it's actually coming in, when we talk about a conjunction, it's where Jupiter and Saturn come together, they join together, so the energies join together. Second big part about it is that it's in 0 degrees of Aquarius. So as some of you are aware of a little bit of astrology, we've been in the Piscean age and we have been sort of transitioning into the Aquarian age, the age of Aquarius, okay, which is going to be a huge shift and huge paradigm. If we think of Aquarius, it's all community, humanity orientated, collaborating, working on a kind of an equal measure, charity work, humanitarian work, really helping and sharing. And this is the age that we're setting into. We've been in Piscean age for a long, long time. So with this conjunction happening on the 0 degree of Aquarius, that basically, it's almost like it marks the beginning of that new paradigm, the beginning of what we, you know, when people talk, and a lot of sort of YouTubers or a lot of kind of gurus out there talk about this new earth. This is kind of marks the beginning of this. The other big reason why this conjunction is so huge is that it's the beginning of a 20-year cycle. Now this conjunction only happens every 20 years, right? So if you have a think about where you were, if you're old enough, where you were 20 years ago, and have a think about not necessarily how things impacted you personally, but how things impacted the world, and how it sort of marked a bit of a shift. Now the last time we had the great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius was in 1405, okay? That was the last time. Now that was the beginning of the early Renaissance period, art, literature, everything kind of really creativity coming out. So you can kind of look back in history and see sort of what sort of shifts were happening on a global scale. The other aspect to think about is because it's been about in the last 200 years, right, this Saturn and Jupiter, they've all been in earth signs, apart from 1981 where it was in Libra, but they've all been in earth signs, right? Which means that has been the last 200 years have really been built on kind of monetary materialism, power over people. It's all to do with power and materialism, everything that happens in the material world. Okay, so that's been really where the world has been at on the collective. And as we move into this great conjunction that's happening, as we move into this next phase, this next 20 years at least, we're going to be moving more sort of like in the air side of things. So if we think about air, the sword sign of tarot represents kind of intelligence, intellect, accessing communications or source energy from the airways, so so that's going to mark quite a big jump with regards to kind of communications, technology, just jumping forward really, really high. And then of course also this idea of kind of helping one another, living together more in a sort of community, humanitarian kind of aspect, and less about the power struggles of power over one over another. Now, as we know, a lot of people have been talking about this. I've been talking about this even. At the moment, there are sort of major structures in our society which are crumbling down, and this has been prophesied for centuries. Lots of ancient texts have written about it. The astrology shows that it's happening, and of course you have also many channelers who talk about this too. Okay, so in order for this kind of new emergence, this new shift, this new paradigm to happen, the powers that be that are particularly corrupt or not really helping humanity, they have to crumble. It's a tower card. They have to fall down. Okay, so but if you'd watched my last video to do with the eclipse, which is tomorrow, yay! The total solar eclipse is happening tomorrow. That is going to be those new intentions, bringing in this new intentions about what you want to happen. I mean, we all know that 2020 has been particularly challenging in ways that we would never have imagined. But it is what it is, and we're now kind of entering into that new phase. We're really, I think the shift of actually being in properly in the area, in the Aquarius age, is going to be about sort of March time, I think. Remember, I'm not an astrologer. This is just information that I collated and researched to help support these pick a card fun readings that I do. The other thing to remember, so also based again on my last eclipse reading, with structures falling apart, I don't know if you remember me saying things, if you feel that kind of constriction, like hands around your neck, you feel quite suffocating, there's going to be probably a bit of a stronger element of that over December. December is very powerful, like there's so much happening. But there's going to be more of that. So if you imagine what happens is when these huge structures in our society, when I say structures, I mean kind of government, politics, when these things feel like they're crumbling down and they're not quite working, or there's lots of corruption, the people, the powers that be, are like trying so hard to kind of keep it there. It's a resistance, trying to assert the power, trying to keep that suppression over people. And so the more it feels like it's crumbling, the tighter that they hold on. So that's why we're going to see a bit more of that, where our human rights are a little bit come into question, like, are you really allowed to do this, or are you really allowed to do that? And with the tightening of those constrictions, that is, they're holding on even tighter because of fear of the Tower moment. They can't accept the Tower moment. And in the Tower card of Tarot, it's all about knowing that things need to crumble it down so something stronger, a stronger foundation can emerge, and you can build for the future. So that's kind of what's happening on a global collective level. It's huge, and it's been talked about, it's been prophesied for a long time, and we're in that age. That's why a lot of people are really tuning into this kind of spiritual awakening, because people are getting upgrades. They're getting spiritual upgrades. They're starting to look within rather than without. The other thing I should probably mention is that with this great conjunction happening on the 21st of December, you might not necessarily feel anything unless you're really tapped in, because I'm pretty tapped into eclipses and things like that. I absorb a lot of the energy, and it can really affect me, sometimes in a positive way and sometimes in a really kind of draining way. So if you are so you might notice that if you are particularly tuned in, that you will feel quite impacted by this great conjunction, but you might not. Remember, this is a 20-year cycle, okay? So it's a slow shift moving forward. The other thing, what else do I have in my notes? Yeah, as I was saying before about the between sort of now and March, you're going to feel stronger and stronger, that constriction. But that is kind of what needs to happen. If you think of any sort of revolutions there have been in history, there's always been a huge imbalance that reaches that tipping point where the collective or the people, you know, cannot take it anymore. They have to. The imbalance is so pronounced that something needs to be done, and those are the kinds of things that are going to be happening. So there may be a case where there's going to be a lot of kind of turmoil around you over the next 4 months, right? There's probably going to be a lot more protests, riots, looting, even people trying to hold on desperately to their sense of security. And all security is obviously it's a fallacy. It's how you feel and believe within yourself, and your sense of divinity, really, that gives you a sense of security. But as people try desperately to hold on to what they have, that forces people to lash out. Okay, now it's the same as happening within people as within the government, in terms of like seeing things crumble and trying to hold on for dear life. Okay, but this kind of has to happen because it's the system that has been playing out over the past 20 years is not has not been serving mankind, has not been serving humanity, you know, where things are financially they're what's that word where someone rigs something, you know? It's all being manipulated, and these things have to come out, these things have to emerge, and they will emerge. And with that, it'll get to that point where the people decide that there are certain things that are not working with this their human rights, and that's when it's going to emerge, and that's where you might see a lot of turmoil. So it's really, really important for you to make that choice of, with things getting very disruptive around you, it's good to be aware and observe it, but if you allow yourself to be sucked into the fear-based energy surrounding it and not allowing and accepting for things to fall away so that something better can come along, it's basically the Tower card, it will be more difficult for you, essentially. We need to move with the times, we need to go with the flow and keep our vibrations up, because especially with the solar eclipse tomorrow, those new intentions are of the utmost importance. Okay, what do we want to bring into our lives? So I'm aware that I'm talking a lot, but okay, so then if we move on to that, sort of astrologically what's sort of happening, that's why the 21st is so big. Okay, so I keep noticing my face keeps slipping into the camera. So before we do the pick a card or the pick a present, I'm going to pull a couple of cards to see on a collective scale what this new conjunction will be bringing to us. And I'm going to get a Sacred Destiny card first. I'll shuffle on deck. Again, if you're not quite interested in what's going on around you, that's fine. Just go to the timestamp below and find your personal message. This will be a slightly longer video. Okay, so can we please get an overall general view about how this this great conjunction is going to be affecting humanity, humankind, on a collective, on a global scale, please. Thank you. That was quick. Okay. Taking risks. Oh. Right. Okay. I'm really picking up that people see with this card there's multiple meanings, but do you see how the eagle flies really high? Okay. Now it's quite barren over there. It's quite interesting actually, because this reminds me a little bit of that. I don't know the word of it, but there's that famous rock in Australia. That red rock. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but I do know that with this great conjunction, they I think there's something in the culture where they believe that underneath a particular rock there's a magic box, and they're going to be unveiling that on the 21st of December 2020. It's been talked about for a long time, so that's quite interesting. But the eagle is flying very high because the eagle's view can see ahead of what's going on, that sharp vision. And even though this area might be pretty barren, they're able to fly, rise above, look at the bigger picture, and know where they can find resources. And if you see here as well how the clouds, the turmoil around you, the center, the eye of the storm is that clarity, that sky where you see the stars and you can tune in. And also if you raise yourself higher, you're able to have clarity of vision rather than being sucked down in the nitty earthy matters. Also the Aquarius aspect over here of like going to that air energy, flight, taking risks. This involves either taking risks, and this would be inviting you to do it, knowing that you can full well do it. Taking risks with regards to how you want to change your life, knowing that you will actually have the foresight to do it if you can raise your vibrations and have that and see the bigger picture. So this would be taking risks compared to what you sort of used to in the past. Okay, so going against the grain, moving outside of your comfort zone. This is what is being called into action and what's being celebrated by spirit. Let us see. We'll get one major arcana card from the Good Tarot, just to see again how this great conjunction is going to be affecting humanity as a whole. Please make it clear, make it plain. Thank you. Okay, so that jumps straight onto taking risks. The world. You see, what was I talking about? So the world marks the end of a major cycle, and you see the alignment there as well, that joining of energies, that joining of the planetary energies, that conjunction. But the world talks about that world cultural view, that coming to the end of a major huge cycle, but this is on a global aspect. So everyone is going to be impacted by this. Everyone is. Everyone is going to see a major change. We'll talk about it, how it's affecting you personally with these cards here. But this is major. This is I know we think of the pandemic of like, oh wow, you know, it was it's really impacted everyone, and some people believe that things will never be the same again. But you know, there's a lot of people out there who just are just wanted to hurry up and get on with it so we can get back to normal. It's not happening. Simple as that. It's not, it will never be normal like that again. Things are changing massively. Everything is changing. Your ideas, your views, your values, your morals, everything has a reawakened view of it. Also, there's been talk as well about this great conjunction that it doesn't matter who you are or what sort of level of spirituality that you sort of feel in tune with or aligned with, but everyone will be upgraded. And if we think about upgrades, those are kind of like light codes downloading into your and being access into your DNA, and you're grounding that energy into the earth. So the earth is changing. The earth is already in 5D. The earth is already in that awakening stage, but we're sort of, humanity is sort of trying to play catch up. There's a lot of people who are already sort of awakened, but there's a lot who aren't. But despite of whether you are awakened or not, okay, you are still being upgraded. So we are reaching the major end of a cycle in how we view humanity as a global collective, how we are so connected. And the pandemic, this virus, has reminded us about how connected we are. With it being contagious, we know how the effect, the rippling effect, one little invisible bug has on the whole planet. Okay, so that is also marking the change, the foresight into how interconnected everything is. And with that, obviously it's going to affect us to the global aspect. Let us pick a couple. Let's get a couple of these cards for this great conjunction for humanity, please. Can we please get more guidance or advice on how this great conjunction is going to be affecting humanity as a whole, please? Oh, that didn't really jump out. That was just me. That jumps. Oh, there's two there. Okay, we have 9 of Cups. Beautiful energy. We've got 2 of Pentacles. Okay, can we get maybe 2 more, please? 2 more, please. Thank you. Okay, King of Pentacles. Oh, yo. These all sort of fell out rather than jumped. I like jumpers because jumpers have spirit energy behind it, pushing it. Oh, that's what we need, those 2. Or those... There's too many there, actually. Well, we'll take them all. Okay. And then we've got the Knight of Pentacles here. High Priestess. The 2 of Cups. Okay. So as a collective, this conjunction, this coming to the end of a cycle, firstly, wish fulfillment. It is reason to celebrate, okay? It is going to call into question those which you prioritize, the things that you prioritize the most, okay? The juggling acts you have in your life. What is actually taking too much of your time? Where do you need to maybe discard something that is actually not really serving you? Because the juggling act, even though we've got this beautiful rainbow here and you're able to do it, it's almost as if trying to keep everything up in the air. Again, that air, that Aquarius energy, trying to keep everything up in the air and keep it balanced. But so in one aspect, for the collective as a whole, people are trying to keep things in balance, but it also calls into question, because I've never picked up on this before, but I am now. If you look behind this card, there's a dolphin over there and there's a ship. Okay, but he has got his back turned to the ship. Now the ship always marks that metaphor of waiting for your ship to come in, traveling onto calmer waters. You know, if we think about the 6 of Swords energy, or the 3 of Wands energy, the 3 of Wands energy is actually this same sort of background, but he's actually facing the ship and he's got his 3 swords. He's ready to, sorry, his 3 wands, and he's ready to move on. But in this aspect, he's got his back turned. He's got his back turned to the dolphin, okay, which is all about sort of intelligence, joy, delight, excitement, and the ship, which marks that voyage, that journey beyond. Okay, so what this is asking. This is also, while you might be feeling that you're having to juggle many balls to keep things like your lifestyle or humanity on an even keel, that juggling aspect, and perhaps there's something that needs to, perhaps there's something that is not of a high priority yet, okay? Trying to manage it all together without, you've got to turn around, put the pentacles down, turn around and look at the ship that's coming in, okay? Be ready to take that next step forward. And the King of Pentacles is here with this Knight of Pentacles. So this talks about creating that long-term security and stability in the material world, but slow and steady, okay? That slow shift. It will, obviously there's 20 years, so it is that slow shift of having the foresight to move forward. Now the king is fully abundant, okay? He knows exactly where things are coming from and where they're going, and he's in charge, you know, he's in charge of his lifestyle. But I feel like this is also kind of like those sort of government structures and things that are trying to manage materialisms, the sort of the material world, while everyone's kind of like in this air space, and they're trying to manage it, and the only way that they would be able to actually move and navigate through this uncertain kind of juggling aspect is by doing things very, very slowly, okay? And with the knight isn't quite the king yet. The knight has still got a lot to learn. So even in terms of the structures that be, that control, because it's all control, those structures that be that control our material world, they're going to have to navigate the future very carefully and very, very slowly if they want to still participate in it, okay? We've got the High Priestess here. So this talks again about that download, that upgrade that we're all going to be getting. People are going to, humanity, because of that, are going to be tuning in a lot more into their intuition about where things are at, and become that sort of air, sort of that space between the earth plane and you know, the ether. So I feel everyone is going to be moving in that sort of direction. What else was I picking up on? What else was I picking up on with this card here? And this is something else I have not picked up before. We've got these we've got twos. Twos are a bit of a thing here. So we've got the Two of Pentacles here. We've got these two pillars behind the High Priestess, and we've got this Two of Cups. Okay. Now the two pillars usually would represent the earth plane and the spiritual plane of here, and that sort of suspension between. But I'm also sort of drawn to the fact that she's wearing a translucent dress, which means that there's an element of transparency to how we are starting to see things. And I think also, oh, that's the other thing I was picking up on, because things are going to be feeling a lot more insecure. And the only reason I say the word insecure is because it's just unfamiliar. Okay, change, where people get frightened of change, unless you know, you are a risk taker. But people get frightened of change because it's all new and they don't know what to expect, and they feel like there is that they don't feel safe in that security. But actually whereby some, I think the polarity here is happening, whereby some are kind of really trying to create that material wealth and security for themselves. There's going to be that polarity of people who are just going to be more in tune with having faith and trying to see beyond the veil, to lift the veil. And also because things around them aren't making sense, or they're chopping and changing, government and systems and protocols and, you know, institutions are having to constantly change their processes to try and counteract this the changes in our society, this crumbling that's happening. People are going to be feeling more drawn to think, well, I can't trust anything anymore now because it keeps changing. It's so haphazard that I'm going to have to go within and start to really tune in intuitively to what is driving, what is kind of pulling me forward. And with that, we've got the Two of Cups. Now, obviously, most of the time this would mean a close connection with somebody else. But I feel like this is, because we're talking about this global aspect, this collective, and we've got that big full moon in the background over there, and the star and the rainbow. I mean, this is, people are going to be moving into that real sort of emotional body. And this is like, for me, I'm seeing this as fellow man. So one person sees the other person, sees themselves in the other person, that sort of mirroring effect, and seeing the beauty in someone else. That's the sort of conjunction, that's the trip that we're on, so to speak. It's a trip, it's a journey, and that's when we can start to really kind of birth this new age, this new paradigm coming in. Phew. Okay, so anyway, I've ranted on quite a lot about all of that. Now we will move on to the pick a present. Merry Christmas, pick a present. So this would be numbered 1, 2, and 3. I'll give you a few seconds just to tune in, okay, with my sound ball over here, and then we will go to the timestamps. Okay, 20 seconds. Okay. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit lower. Group number 1. Those who chose group number 1, we've got your cards here, which I haven't peeked. Your crystal is this huge, beautiful citron. This talks about the solar plexus energy, that motivation, that drive, that fire in your belly of how you work in the physical plane. Of course, humanity is also within that primary yellow, lemon yellow energy center, this kind of space where we've moved from the bases up to that kind of consciousness, okay, the identity of how we feel, rather than just sort of as like an animal would, or maybe not as much, but instead of just purely surviving, this is questioning, this is moving forward, and this connects with how we handle ourselves in the material world. Okay, so let's see what your cards are. We have the this intuitive card. I'll show you for a moment. Number 10. Okay, we've got a lot of solar plexus energy over there as well. And we also have the heart energy space too, the heart chakra. So balancing. Let me see what else we have. We have blessings. Beautiful. Ooh, blessing. Look how fertile and blossoming everything is there. We've got a time to give rather than take. Okay, new moon in Virgo. New moon's all about sort of that new intentions, making something happen, and Virgo is very nurturing, a nurturing, caring sign, earth sign. Ooh, we have starseed. What lights you up? Talk about all of these in a minute. I just want to see it all together. Okay. Oh, wow. Your major arcana is Fortune's Wheel. So with a good tarot, they're never meant to be read in reverse, even though I don't read reversals for these general messages anyway. But this would always then be a positive flow. Okay. So where it's been the wheel is turning in your favor. Then we have Page of Swords. Okay. We have the Emperor. You see that real earthy energy there, that strategy moving forward. And then we have the Six of Wands. That's celebration. My God. Okay, so group number one, those who chose this is exciting. This is very exciting. You're going to be seeing a major shift, okay? But it's happening gradually. It's happening gradually. Let's just pick up on a few things. Bear with me a moment. It's like, it's like you're seeing eye to eye with the universe. It's like the universe is finally recognized you, okay? Because we've got that, it's almost like eye to eye, okay? We've got the solar plexus energy, then we've got this heart energy as well, and the universe is that, all that love, right? And that is meeting in the middle over here, this earth plane that we're on, okay? Because humanity are in in the yellow energy center, that's Mother Earth, but then the love is coming in. So it's almost like, I don't know why, but it feels like the universe is meeting you is meeting you with love, because we've got this blessings in the starseed and the fortune's wheel. So I feel like this is not going to be running over the whole of, we're not looking at a 20-year reading here. We're looking at this kind of initial few months from when this conjunction begins. And it's going to be a point where you are, it's calling you to be more generous with your time. Give more to others, because blessings, you are being showered by blessings, okay? Especially with Fortune's wheel here. This tells me that things have been pretty dark and pretty constraint. Constraint is a word that comes to mind. Things have been very difficult. There's been perhaps a lot of resistance. Things have just basically not been going your way. And I would say for a long period of time. So when I say a long period of time, I would say that perhaps you've been at that point where for the last 2 to 5 years, it feels like, you know, everything that you've tried to, yes, you've received small blessings in the way, and yes, this is, but they've all been little. When you look at the grand picture of your life for the last 2 to 5 years, it's been like, it's been an upward struggle. Okay, where do you fit within society? Where do you find that sense of security? Where do you kind of really apply yourself and implement your energies into that which you feel really, really, really passionate about? Okay, and the wheel is changing for you in your favor. So where you've been having these, I feel like you've been having quite a lot of darker times, but you've kind of, you're reaching that end of that, okay? So perhaps you're starting to see the light a little bit, and you're starting to recognize the world with new eyes and kind of go, okay, well, how can I just go with the flow and change and work with what I have? And with applying that attitude, a lot of blessings are coming in, okay? So we are those are coming in because you've been struggling. I feel like you have been struggling, group number one. Because you've been struggling, you have now been able to see. It's like that Two of Cups that we saw, that humanity, seeing the other person, seeing yourself in another person. You're able to understand somebody else's pain, that eye to eye. You've been able to really relate and connect and see the pain that other people have gone through, and you wouldn't have been able to really see that unless you'd gone through it yourself. So you have grown in wisdom massively, and with that growth and with that expansion, you are able to be more open and more giving and more compassionate and benevolent even to others around you. And when you are in that way, you at time to give rather than to take. Now, yes, this could be being generous with what you have, sure. But it's interesting how they use the word a time. Okay, a time. So a time obviously refers to that Aquarius energy of humanity, humanitarian kind of humankind, that kind of collaboration, sharing. But it's also a time. So it's asking. It's you've been through a period of lack, and maybe it's been a sort of a limiting belief system, and you've sort of coming out of that. But you're moving into that time, into that period of time where you are starting to see that by the more you give, the more you get, you know, and not in a kind of manipulative way. It's just you start to see the flow more, and as the more you give comes in, you are being showered by blessings and abundance, and your life is becoming a bit more vibrant, a little bit more colorful. And so you're also in a position to give because you've sort of gone through that dark night. You've gone through those heavy burdens, and you're coming out the other side, okay? With the starseed, what lights you up? Yes, if you resonate with starseed as being your first incarnation on the earth plane, and you're from a different civilization, then read up a bit more about it, because if anyone who's chosen... anyone who is a starseed who would have picked up 3 cards would have picked this, would have intuitively picked up card pile number 1. So look into those and how you can bring more value to other people, humankind, because part of your mission, your earth purpose, from being a starseed would be to help uplift humanity, okay? But for those of you who are not who are not familiar with that term, what lights you up is really that recognition, that spark to say to yourself, it's like that inspiration to kind of go, well, because we don't know, because we have lost an element of trust with the exterior world and the systems and the structures that we've put our faith in, which are now sort of crumbling. Now I'm going to find within me what really serves my motivation, my passion. And it's encouraging you to do what makes you passionate, what makes you happy, that joy. Because if you turn your energies and focus your energies in that, that's when blessings are going to come your way. That's when you've lifted your vibrations and you're able to give more. And with that, the Wheel of Fortune is in your favor. Okay? That time, again, the Wheel of Fortune is like a time wheel. We've got times are changing for you massively. Page of Swords. Okay, so we've got some news that's coming in that's going to be very, very helpful for you, and that's what might be tipping the scale with regards to Fortune's wheel here coming in. Communication is coming in. Of course, with it being an air sign, we're into sort of that 0 degree of Aquarius here. That's the sort of period that we're moving into. And of course, we're going to be, that Saturn and Jupiter is going to be in Aquarius for 20 years. Communication is very important to you. So communication is going to be coming in, but I feel like you're going to be very much into... work-wise, there's going to be a lot of communication-orientated work, and also technology is going to be serving you very, very well. And with that technology, so the good news is coming in. You have the Emperor energy here, okay? And this is you. This is stepping into that Emperor energy. And that Emperor energy is number 4. Okay, it's all about structure and stability and foundation, forward thinking, and being completely in control of where you are navigating, not just your own immediate family, but it's almost like you have this, especially with these 2 cards here, it's almost like you being put, it's like the Fortune's wheel is putting you in a position of power to some degree, where you have the power and the ability to help change a lot of people's lives. So yes, it could work in a this could affect you in a work aspect, but I feel like whatever you're going to be doing, whatever this big change is going to be putting you in a place that you've not been in a while, and you are going to be having a greater impact and influence on not just your immediate bubble, your immediate circle, but beyond, that rippling effect, okay? Especially if you follow this motivation, this passion, this drive, this fire energy. We got fire, ooh, and then 6 of Wands. So this is celebration. You are being recognized, okay? So if you've been feeling, and I feel like this would definitely resonate with you, that you haven't felt in the past few years like your hard work hasn't been paying off, you know, you haven't had the recognition, you haven't had the acknowledgement, this is all changing for you. Fortune's wheel is coming in because the time is changing. Times are changing. A time to give. Fortune's wheel, time, this period that you're in is your moment. Okay, this next 20 years, if you navigate the areas right and you bring and you allow yourself to give more than to take, okay, you are then therefore balancing the scale and then bringing in more abundance into you, into the in a powerful way that is not only going to give you the recognition you deserve, but allow you to have that positive impact and influence on people around you. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. So group number 1, that is your message. I mean, I would love a message like that. That is your message. That's your present for the 21st of December. So I hope that it resonated. I hope that it serves you very well. I know it will serve you very well. Blessings are coming your way and you are on point. You are on path. So if you have felt that you've been off your soul, your life path, know that you are right where you need to be. Very nice, very nice. So group number 1, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment and share, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye. Group number 2, here is your message. Let us see your cards, and the crystal you unknowingly chose was lapis lazuli. I don't know if I always can pronounce that correctly. So this stone, they have a lot of this in Afghanistan. In ancient Egypt, they made a lot of ornaments using this stone. So it is attached to royalty. But this works with the throat chakra, okay, the throat energy. And that energy is obviously, it has graduated from the heart space and moved into that area of creativity and communication. Channeling as well, okay? So this is the area where you are going to be going more in, if that makes sense. This conjunction is going to be putting you in a place where your communication abilities, even sort of public speaking, that sort of stuff is going to be heightened and going to be rewarded. But also this is you're going to be moving into a space where you're more able to be self-expressive, okay, self-expressive with how you feel. So if you've experienced a few years where, you know, you're a bit of a closed book and you find it difficult to express yourself, you can't find the words, you can't, you know, it's whereby there's been a lack of confidence with regards to your voice, how you, and I don't mean your physical voice, yes, it could be your literal voice, but your metaphoric voice as well. And your metaphoric voice can also be communicated through the expression of art and creativity. So that's the pool you are sort of moving into. But let's see your cards, okay? Your intuitive card, oh, number 1. Let you have a look at that first. There's a lot happening here. Woo-wee. So this number 1 in tarot would be the Magician. Okay. Let's go to Sacred Destiny. purification. Beautiful. Purification of your self-expression as well. We have here, oh, beautiful, you're good enough. You see, all the same things are coming up with what I talked about with this. You're good enough. You have a voice. Okay, time to express it. The world needs to hear it. Full moon in Virgo. Funny enough, the previous card had new moon in Virgo. Interesting. Right, and then we have the age of light. See that timing there? You've been training for this for lifetimes. So you're finally group number 2, you're finally stepping into your vibe. Okay, you haven't been in your vibe before because there was a sort of a lack of confidence. There was a lack of being able to be true to yourself and sort of confident, that self-esteem of how to speak your truth, you know, really speak your truth, and how you can apply that, how you can create things. Being creative often requires taking risks, like we had that first card in the beginning for the global, taking risks, you know, going outside your comfort zone. And you are now purifying, you're going through a purification of those energies that have been sort of suppressing you with regards to how you view yourself, okay, and how you view yourself within society as well, and potentially as well how other people view you, okay. So you're sort of stepping into this purification, this deep inner healing, and you've been manifesting it, you've been creating it, you've been pulling in. If you have a look at this card here, it's got all the colors in there, right? But it's not on, like, all the colors haven't been used in equal shape nor scale, okay. It's like being the alchemist, using a touch of this and a little bit of that and a touch of this and a splash of that and a pound of that, knowing what the perfect recipe is for this purification that you're going into. And what that essentially is moving towards is this you're good enough energy. So you might not be at the phase just yet to have that full inner self-love. You might need a little bit more work there, okay. You might be projecting your love too much, maybe a little bit too overbalanced on other people, you know, giving, loving, and may not have you may not have gone to that point of having that perfect balance of how much you give out to how much you give towards yourself and that inner love. But you're definitely reaching that point of knowing, oh, hang on a second, you're starting that journey of I'm just as good as that person. So, you know, when you sort of meet new people, and or in the workplace, or even in your family environment, there have been elements where people have a labeling effect. You know, people like to categorize people in certain ways. So it'll be like, okay, what is your income? Do you own your own house? Do you have a car? Do you have children? Do you know, and these sorts of boxes, okay, whether you tick them or don't, they've been they have the capacity or the capability of putting you in a place, and everyone does this to a degree, unless you're fully enlightened and awakened. They have the degree to make you feel, when you meet someone and you find out what they do for a living, or whatever, if it's based on so-called what society has deemed acceptable or you know, celebrated, then you have a tendency, or everyone has a tendency to kind of go, am I superior to this person, or am I inferior to this person? So there's this deeper kind of there's this deeper element of questioning your space and your place within other people. Okay, so you'll meet someone and perhaps you go to the shop and the cashier sort of is serving you, and perhaps you don't think twice about it, okay. Maybe perhaps you just think, oh yeah, it's just a cashier, whatever. or you go to a Christmas party and you meet someone who is a CEO of a business, of his own company, and you immediately, without realizing, you feel slightly inferior to that person because they might earn a lot, or they might have a lot of power. Those things for you are changing. Now, we all do that to some degree because it's been conditioned in our society for hundreds of years, and those are the things that we are rehabilitating within our lives. How we can see everyone as equal to ourselves, you know, and the best way to think about that is that we all want to feel that connection, that sense of love. We don't like to feel separated. We don't like to feel left out, essentially. Okay, nobody wants to feel left out, because as soon as we feel left out, there's that separation. We feel disconnected and we don't know who we are. Okay, but what's happening now with you is, whereby these things might have triggered you in the past, you're starting to move more into that equilibrium with this conjunction. Okay, it might, you know, you might only see the benefits of that over the next few months, but you're starting to recognize that you are good enough. You are as good as somebody else. Okay, obviously you could take it a step further to bring more love within yourself, not to the degree where you think you're better than anybody else, but really kind of cement that within your sense of being. So not just, oh yeah, I deserve that because that person deserved that one. So we're talking less about comparing yourselves to other people. You're going to be moving away from that, because I feel like that's where you have been going, and that's what's prevented you from expressing yourself and being true to yourself. And it's like, I don't mean that you have to be blunt and you have to, like, well, I don't care what they think, I'm just going to say what I feel. You know, it's not that. It's more like you are able to be even vulnerable with others. You are being truthful to yourself. Okay, and with the age of light, that you've been training for this for lifetimes, this means that this, you with this triangle here and this accessing this source energy, and this is the downgrade. Sorry, the downgrade. Sorry, the download or the upgrade. Okay, you are walking into the age of light. That is the age. The age of light is the Aquarius age. It is an age of enlightenment, the age of also just feeling light on your feet. You know, not so kind of trying to put that mask around you, trying to put that barrier around you in case someone hurts you, you know, and being careful about what you're saying because you're so used to people pleasing, or you don't want to rock the boat or anything like that. No, you're starting to recognize that you are enough, you're enough, you're enough. And that is the enlightenment that you're getting, okay? Let's see what other cards we have. We have, for the Major Arcana, we've got the Hierophant, which is a deeply spiritual card, but this can also talk about organizations and institutions, okay? It will be the Taurus card. We have Temperance. Beautiful. Another Major. We have the Two of Wands. Okay, and we have the Five of Coins, which would be the Five of Pentacles. Right, so yes, it does definitely suit what I was talking there before. So the Hierophant is this shift that you were moving into, this age of light that you are moving into. This is a deep healing that you're going through. Okay, you need the deep healing before you can really kind of open yourself up, and that's what purification is all about, and that's what temperance is all about, as well as a Hierophant. So group number 2, you're going through a major healing. This conjunction is really opening up it's like a portal. It's opening up the gateway for this to really happen, into this you are good enough. And it's not just like, oh yeah, no, I know, you know. It's like, no, I'm genuinely good enough. Like I no longer need to put myself second. I no longer need to put other needs above my own. Now, I'm not saying to be completely going all the one way, but I feel like perhaps you've definitely kind of maybe given more than you've received, and part of it could also be that perhaps you want to not face some of the issues. It's easier to help somebody else deal with their issues, and perhaps you're that kind of nurturing person. But with a full moon, because a Virgo is a nurturing, very nurturing sign, full moon in Virgo, you're reaching that end of like, oh, hang on a second, I need to really kind of heal within. I need to really kind of serve myself to rescale the balance and then be able to move forward into that age of light. Okay. Now, the Hierophant is that system of, I feel like you are going to be moving more sort of in a spiritual aspect. And I don't necessarily mean that you're going to be meditating every day or following gurus. I think you're just going to be taking that bigger picture. But it's that bigger picture within, that internal bigger picture with how you fit within yourself and where you are inspired to go. Okay? It's a shift that happens. And it's going to be affecting 3 areas of your life. Okay, it's going to be affecting you more than anything else because it's a major from these smaller cards that are anchored by this Hierophant. The major aspect that this is going to be doing for you is allowing you some healing. So Temperance talks about divine timing. Okay, you've been training for this for lifetimes. It talks about divine timing. It talks about spirit coming in and giving you a heads up and a hand. Okay, it talks about taking the time to heal within, the patience, the nurturing, not rushing forward and making fast judgments, really taking the time within. So it's going to be affecting you majority on how you feel about yourself, how you really feel about yourself, and moving into that self-love. Secondly, it's going to help you charge and maybe take that next step. So if there's something that you perhaps started, a project that you've started, and if, you know, having the confidence to take that next step, especially if it's to do with sort of any sort of communication or creativity. Public speaking comes big as well. Perhaps you, like this, started a YouTube channel and you're going to be kind of putting yourself out there a bit more. You're taking the next step of there. With the Two of Wands, the wands are balanced as chopsticks almost, it looks like. Okay, and she's holding either a crystal ball or an orb. You're taking the next step. Okay, so it's like you've already had the initial aha moment, and that's in your magician phase with this card here, this alchemy card over here. And as you enter into that, you're at the beginning phases of that purification. You've done a lot of work, but now you're ready to cleanse the soul. Okay, cleanse the soul. And as you cleanse the soul within the grubbiness and the dirt of the earth, as you cleanse the soul, you allow yourself inner healing. You allow spirit to come in more strongly. You are even putting yourself in a position where you are able to help others, but it's like not by doing it. I feel like you that's what you've been doing for, you know, forever, really, is putting other needs before your own, or perhaps not even acknowledging your own sense of worth because other people either it's too difficult to face it yourself, or you just want to give. But you're going to be helping to serve other people in a very different way, by example, by leading by example, and that is going to be more beneficial for you, especially if you work with your creativity and your communication. Okay. Secondly, this element of 5 of coins. Now, people read this in many different ways, and it depends on what jumps up. And for me, what's jumping up at the moment is this light coming in from the church. Okay, so this person here has felt very, very left out, like neglected. So I feel like you have been at that space, and look, that person's got a child as well. So they really are in need, but they're outside the church. They're cold, they're hungry, they don't have enough. But interesting how these two are very, very similar. This talks about sort of church and institutions and help coming in. And with this card, it depends on how it's read, especially also for me as well as a reader. I use colors quite a lot. Sometimes this looks like a very dark card, and it would tell of a time where it's going to be quite difficult financially. Other times this is expressed to me as that ray of light coming through, that source energy coming through. I'm not talking necessarily about religion, this is just using a metaphor, but that energy coming in, allowing you to see that there is help, there is availability, there is kindness and love open, and it's coming in those shafts of light. I don't know if you can see that, but there's shafts of light coming in and shining on this person who has been feeling a sense of lack for so long. And that is also what's changing you. So it's affecting you, like majority, it's affecting you with regards to your inner healing, this purification, okay? And that is going to put you into the space of knowing that you have self-worth. Huge. This is huge because you haven't had this before, not to this degree. Hopefully beyond that you can graduate to real self-love, but for now you're moving into, okay, now I'm good enough, I'm as good as the next person. So it's going to be affecting you on the grand scale of that healing. Then it's going to be affecting you in the workspace, okay, of how it's going to give you that self-esteem, that little burst of energy, and you can move on and take the next step of this idea, this passion, this new project that you started, a passion project even, okay. And then it's going to start to bring in the light with regards to that which you feel that you have been in lack of, the neglect that you've been feeling. It's going to shed a light on that. And it's going to empower you to the degree of knowing that because you're good enough, you can access, you are allowed that too. You are allowed that help. You are allowed to ask for help. And if you ask for help, it's going to be given to you. You're going to be coming out the feeling of lack, and you're going to be feeling more, it all comes down to the energy, right? So the energy of sort of, we think about finance for a second. The energy of whether you feel like you're deserving of it. Perhaps you've always grown up with that attitude of, you know, you've got to work damn hard at something you really hate in order to afford things, right? It doesn't always work that way. It's only because your belief system around it, okay? If you truly, deep down believed that if you did something you fully enjoyed, then you knew that you would be recognized for it and rewarded in monetary payment. If you truly believe that, that's how you would associate the energy of money, because money is an energy too, okay? If we use finance as an example here. So it's really this purification, temperance of moving into the you are good enough is going to be affecting your sense of self-worth. And that will be playing out in the physical world as well. And you're going to start to see the light coming in from the window. You're going to start harnessing that energy and start basically accepting it, saying thank you very much, I will take that, thank you, because you know that you deserve it. So it's not anymore like you're like a charity case, or that, you know, you refuse help from other people because of pride. It's none of that anymore. And it's not even like it's not a charity, it's this equal give and take that we're moving in with this age of Aquarius, you know. This huge conjunction is kind of really kind of balancing things up. So it's very beautiful. You are going to be expressing yourself. You are going to be yourself a lot more than you've been in the past. You're going to get that self-esteem. And it's a very slow process, especially with temperance. It's going to take time. But you're well on that journey. You've been on that journey for a wee while because you've manifested it, right? But over the next couple of months, you're going through that deeper purification. And the purification is basically that cleansing of that old negative, darker sort of attitudes that you have felt with regards to your self-worth. That is all changing for you. And you know you can harness it because you've been training for this for years, okay? So it's really nice, group number 2. Really nice. Things are changing. Yes, it could be a little bit slow, but it is changing nonetheless. So the past, 2 to 5 years, if it's just been more of the same, this repetitive cycle, treat 2020 as that real kind of tipping point of where you can really pull away everything that actually doesn't serve me, that doesn't serve me, that doesn't serve me, that doesn't serve me, and create your own. Create a brand new one for yourself. It's happening. But first the healing comes in. So those are your messages, group number 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and if it resonated, please do like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will see you next time. Take care. Bye. So, group number 3. Let's see what your cards are and see what crystal you chose. Ha! Ta-da! You chose amethyst. So the amethyst crystal really talks about that sort of, it can sometimes talk about the third eye, but mainly this is the crown chakra, and also the violet ray, which is your overall energy field. So if you think about your chakras and all the colors, so we've got from the root chakra all the way to the crown, or let's say to the third eye, to that indigo, those little energy fields that circulate your body in that center, you know, up the central part of your body, from your base obviously to the crown. The violet ray, the amethyst, represents the overall general view of your energy centers. It's like your picture. If you were to take a photograph of your energy field, the violet ray would express all your smaller energy fields within it. It's like a snapshot. It's like a photograph of your energy. Okay, so this is a very sort of overview, overall energy. So let us see what it says. Oh, whoa. Haha. I've never had this card before, I don't think. Number 34. That is intense. We're talking root chakra there. So this is about, shoo, I see insects even. Blood vessels. It's almost like you're looking through a vein, right? Ooh, yo. So again, we've got the very overall at the top view, and then we've got the foundation. Let's carry on. We'll get into this. Ooh, lovely. Miracles. We have a time for healing. Okay. Sometimes people go like, oh, what? I've been doing the healing. Don't do any more. But there's always more healing to be done, because there's always more expansion and more knowledge and wisdom to gain. Then we have the Great Gathering. Very nice. So it's all coming together. Intuitive hits. Soul Tribe. Your major arcana. Love. Beautiful. Then your other cards, we've got the Two of Cups here. King of Wands. And the Three of Swords. Okay. Okay. So, group number 3. How is this great conjunction affecting you? There's kind of a lot happening, I would say. Whew. Okay, well, there's actually a lot happening. Okay, so we have this, it's like there's a sticking point for you. We got a 3 and a 4, which reduces to a 7. We've got this like sticking energy, when I feel like that's the thing that's coming into healing for you. Sticking energy is that base chakra, that root chakra, that area where you want to feel safe and protected and secure. Okay, that is coming quite through quite strong, because it's like that's the thing that's coming in for healing, basically. Now it's like there's lots of things happening. It's like in the base of the situation of you within you, and we've got these 2s here as well, again like the beginning cards. At the base of you, there is an element I feel like there's also physical healing that needs to be done, like in the physical body. Something that could be affecting, you know, your circulatory system here. Also, it could be affecting your womb, your lower base region. So maybe bladder, but maybe bowel, womb, yeah, bowel. So I feel like there could be some physical healing that's coming your way, as well as spiritual healing. So if for those of you who chose number 3, okay, if you have had some ill health, okay, miracles are definitely coming your way. Don't worry, we'll get to there. But if you've had some failing physical health, healing is coming in. You will be getting better. Okay, things are working for you. If it's if you haven't had any physical symptoms, then the healing is coming in with regards to where you feel. It's almost as if to think about it, if your element of how you feel protected and safe within yourself and within society or within your family, you know, safety, protected. You are coming into a healing from that, because it's been at the base of everything that you've been doing. This element of where you know how in the beginning I was saying take the risks, you know, with the overall view. You haven't been ready to take risks because there's been either failing health, or there has been at the root, which is, this is a root chakra, right? At the root of the problem is this issue to do with feeling unprotected to a degree, okay? And that's where the healing is coming in. So obviously, if you are unwell and if you are physically ill, then of course your energy levels and your body is taking the battering of what's going on spiritually, as well as anything else that you would have picked up, or preconditions, diseased bodies, or whatever the case may be. If someone is physically unwell, they don't have the energy to make things happen. They can't operate like how they've been used to being operated. They can't function normally, and that makes them feel unsafe, insecure. Okay. Equally, if you feel healthy within your body, there will still be an element within you which is the root of the problem, which needs to come into healing, which will be coming into healing because we had that great gathering here. The root of the problem is this question of safety, this question of security, this question of protection. Okay, that's been the thing that has been driving you up until this point. Now, what I can tell you with this outline over here is that it's all changing for the better. So that's been the root of the problem. But because we've got miracles and a time for healing coming in here, I know for a fact that you are going to be seeing a whole new version of you. Okay? Now, it could be, I don't normally pick up on this, and I don't think I ever have in a general reading, but I feel like you're definitely you're going to have some sort of experience, some sort of, it's almost like a paranormal experience. Something happens to you which you've never experienced before, and it's going to do, like, it's going to shift something within your DNA, within your cells even. It's like you're going to have an extraordinary experience, and it could be considered paranormal. It could be considered, perhaps you second guess, you're not quite sure if it's really, really true. Perhaps you'll see something in the sky, or perhaps you'll suddenly hear words and no one was around talking to you, but you heard words, you followed them, and something true happened. Whatever it is, a miracle is coming your way. It is miracles, it is divinely guided, okay? Or could also be that the miracle that you experience is the fact that you thought, actually, okay, well, I've got this autoimmune disease, and because it's like the body is on self-destruct mode, it would take a bloody miracle to get better. Well, the miracle is coming in because we've got the healing, okay? So even if you are physically in a bad space in terms of health, the healing is coming in and you're going to see it as a miracle. If it's a case of this element of feeling unsafe or unprotected within yourself, within your family, within your bubble, your community, miracles are going to start showing up. But the trick here as well is to look for the miracles too, because sometimes miracles can be happening all around you and you don't see it. So it's inviting you to have your eyes open a little bit more over these next few months, because as you start to view these miracles and see these miracles coming in, or this paranormal experience that I feel like you will have, that's going to put you into that space of healing. Not only physically, but kind of spiritually, in terms of how you feel protected. The Great Gathering, when we think about just the picking up on the healing, the Great Gathering, you coming together, intuitive. You see the intuitive hits. When I was talking about the miracles, you could be getting, you could have like an experience, which is an intuitive hit, which is you would consider as paranormal, not paranoia. They're quite similar words, aren't they? Don't be paranoid. It's all coming together. It's like things are slotting into place. You're starting to see it from a bigger point of view, and then you can allow yourself to basically change your mind about a belief system you had before that really wasn't doing you the world of good. You also could have someone sort of come, like a new person come into your life, especially because we've got these cards as well, come into your life that you just feel instant connection with, and you would feel like it could even be a soulmate, a karmic relation, or something like that. But it's definitely you're starting to kind of gravitate and attract people who are more in your sort of wavelength, okay, but with this heightened phase, not the way that you were before. Now when we have love, now in the Good Tarot card, this represents love and abundance, but love in terms of oneness with yourself and with all. And it's almost like a miracle card, because it's very difficult for humanity to really conceive or perceive oneness, and how we are all interconnected and love is all around, and there is abundance of it. But you're starting to see that love is everywhere, okay? We've got this Two of Cups. Oh yes, look, it almost looks like spaceships. So you could even see something in the sky. Remember I was talking about with the miracles there, okay? That really shifts your paradigm, and that's where it all sort of starts to slot into place. But it could be, so I definitely recommend stargazing. Also apparently when you look at the moon at night, it has been said by entities being channeled, that it changes the aura, your aura, into a more high vibe. So again, stargazing would be a good idea. You're going to be seeing things in a whole new way, and those what the miracles are. It's all sort of coming together. It's all sort of slotting into place. With regards to this Two of Cups, you are going to be seeing yourself as equal measure to your partner, to your fellow man, okay? Even back down to from, you know, forget about labels. You'll be seeing them as your fellow man, a member of humanity like you are, okay? It could also be someone new that you have that strong connection with, that you just sort of meet someone waiting in a queue to go into a supermarket, and you have a little chat and there's an instant connection there, okay? But there is you're starting to really connect the dots. The dots are really coming in, and as you connect the dots, that's when the healing comes in, because you're starting to open yourself to possibility and potential, rather than just living in this space of feeling unprotected and unsafe and insecure, okay? When we have this element, when we have this understanding of oneness, there is no longer a need to feel insecure, because we are all the same. No, we're not all the same. It's like with this great conjunction, it's about being unique, and it's also about uniting. So unique, unite. and you're starting to see people's words in a different way, and they're starting to see you in a different way as well. Now we've got the King of Wands over here, so this is going to give you more energy, more sort of vavavoom, more sort of solar plexus motivation to drive forward. But I feel like this could also be perhaps this is another message for not many of you, but I will say it because it is pretty strong. It could be that there's someone in your life who is very, I would say, romantic partner, who is very sexy, good looking, very charming, very charismatic, who either you have been with in the past and you have that strong connection with. Maybe you've even had children with this womb here, or it's someone new coming in. But whoever he is, even or he or she, its gender's non-specific. Whoever this person is, I feel like there's going to be some. So again, this is a message not for everyone. This is just because it's coming up. There's going to be some sort of turmoil, some choppy water with regard to this connection, and maybe this connection is no longer serving you. Okay, because we've got the Three of Swords here, which talks a little bit about heartbreak, but also talks about the mind understanding the pain. You know, so you can feel things physically, you can feel things emotionally, you can feel things spiritually. But there's a point as well where you can actually feel the pain mentally. And the mental disruption causes you to understand where you have felt at dis-ease. Okay? So with the healing coming in, there could be healing with regards to this connection. And even though you might go through this heartache or this like a break, this choppy water, you are still going to come out the other side, especially with the healing card here. You're going to come out the other side with really sort of understanding and having delved deep and to understanding that this maybe is not, this has been toxic and now it needs to sort of go, okay? Whatever it is, this love, this abundance, perhaps you've already experienced this heartbreak. Because this is the anchoring card, and this is obviously a major arcana, so this is more powerful than that. You're going to be coming out of this feeling of heartbreak, okay, with a more sense of gratitude and agape, love for all. So even though there's been pain, you're going to get through it because you're going to start to see the miracles coming in, and you're also going to be experiencing, it's like you're more tapping in to the energies around you. You're picking up on a lot more intuitively, and you're starting to see sort of either paranormal things or you know, the wonders of life just coming in. And even though you might have a difficult spell with, like, this could also be a boss, mind you, very charismatic, very forward leader type of vibe boss. But I feel it's more of a romantic partner, someone very, very close to. Even if it goes through choppy water, you will come out the other side with this heightened sense of peace and contentment, knowing that you had the most beautiful connection, but that time and that phase has now, it came into your life when you needed it and it was wonderful, and now you're ready to leave with love. Okay? So that's beautiful. But I feel that even if you have to say goodbye to someone, now it doesn't mean to say that this partner you might sort of leave. It just might mean that you maybe you just need to get over a rough patch, okay? But you're bringing love into the situation, and it's definitely a time for healing. If you do say goodbye, or you feel like you've had the season with the person, even if it's been decades, you've had the season, you've learned a great deal, now you're ready to rejuvenate and move on, I feel like you will be meeting other people. You will be meeting people who are more in tune with you, who are, now that you've been through all of this and you've come out the other end wiser and having that period of healing and feeling and starting to feel more, or discovering that you can feel more safe and secure within your sense of self, rather than having to, because we got two here, so this could talk about a partnership, you know, these two eggs. You'll be ready to attract the next person who is then now more on your level. Okay, we all have people that come into our life for a lesson, for a season, for, you know, for many different reasons. And even if something has been a very beautiful connection, perhaps that time is now gone, and perhaps you've done everything that you need to do. We had the World card in the beginning, remember? End of an era, beginning of a new chapter. So even if you're ready to say goodbye to somebody, even though there was strong divine love there, you're now ready to sort of move on, okay, with love, and send them love as well. Doesn't matter what they did to you. Okay, so that's obviously a partnership for some of you. For the rest, this is beautiful because you're starting to bring love to the situation where you have felt the healing that's coming in is basically bringing in love to pain that you have felt in the past. This could be heart pain, you know, it basically affected you emotionally but also intellectually. So it could have been that maybe the miracle that comes in, or the time of healing comes in, is where you have been in a space for a long period of time where emotionally you have been in suffering, and then because of the habit of that emotional feeling, it turned into a mental cycle. Okay, that mental cycle of how you feel, and this could be with regards to a relationship, or can be with regards to your sense of self, or with regards to a physical disease. And it's become a habitual mental attitude you have towards that. Okay, but now you're moving, you're graduating into the space of seeing it now more with love. And as you're able to now remove the mental habit away, get rid of that habitual mental belief system regarding that, and you bring more love into it. And as you do so, more healing comes in, the miracles come in, and things are all starting to slot into place. Okay, and then you're able also to attract the people who are more in tune with you. So it really is beautiful. There's a lot of love here. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of pain and suffering too, but the love comes as a result of the pain and suffering. So it's ultimately beautiful. And that's why it's happening on so many different aspects in your life. Ultimately, it all comes down to love. Love yourself within your body, within your mind and spirit, and be able to blanket love over, allow it to be stronger than any of the mental attitudes you've had towards yourself and others in the past. Love is going to overtake, basically, and that's where the healing comes in, and that's when the miracles come in, and that's when the soul tribes come in. But I really wouldn't be surprised if you saw something in the skies, or something really kind of paranormal or extraordinary. We got two rainbows there. I mean, it's just something extraordinary is coming your way, and I feel like it's divinely guided as well. Okay, so this could be the thing that switches things up as well. So I hope that it resonated with group number 3. If it did, please like, subscribe, share and comment, and I wish you a wonderful 21st of December 2020. Obviously this is not going on for the next 20 years, but this would be like over the next couple of months. But this is the shift, the start of moving in that next love generation phase. So I wish you all the best and much healing, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.